the ghosty girl. Steals your body, steals the show. Klutzy and a little forgetful, but meeting her.
Hello, ghosties! How are you doing today? Welcome, welcome, everybody! It's time for episode 5 of Advice from Beyond the Grave. White girl jump scare. I'm so sorry. For anyone who's looking at the clock, you can just ignore that. We were co-working earlier, hanging out, getting ish done, and now I'm here to give advice to all the amazing ghosties who might be struggling with something and need some help. I am your local but totally not local virtual internet big stepsister, and I will give you the truthful but loving and caring advice that you deserve. So that's what we're doing. This is our fifth episode of this. I'm recording it in hopes that I will edit this and make it into a proper video and not just a VOD on YouTube, but we will put it on YouTube anyway. So if anyone has any last minute advice, situations or submissions or questions or scenarios, or it's something maybe you just want my opinion on, like how should you react, or what do I think about a situation, or whatever, you're feel free to submit it at the link. It's pinned. You can also do !advice. If I don't get to your situation today, then I will definitely get to it next time, and I'm trying to do at least one a month. So by the end of the year, hopefully we'll have 12. I'm on number 5 and it's already June though, so there might be a month or two where I do an extra one. I might introduce some guests occasionally. We might have like a duo situation. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see where the vibes take us. But for now, it's you and it's me and this cozy living room situation we got here to discuss and solve all of the world's problems. I guess without further ado, we'll just hop into the first scenario. The first submission. I will say, I think we briefly talked about this before, but it was live while we were on stream, and I feel like it didn't get a good enough response. So I wanted to give a proper response with some with like actual research and such. Riri can fix me. I can fix everything. And because of this segment, most of the redeems are turned off. Sorry. Anytime we do this, since I'm recording it and it's like a special show, there's basically no redeems on for this. But they were on earlier and they'll be on again next time. Just not during this. I don't want like distractions and things that would make it hard to edit, you know. Don't waste money. I don't recommend that. Okay. My chair. Come on now. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. The first question of the day is this one. Sometimes I feel like I don't belong in my friend group. I feel like an outsider a lot of the times, And I try to be part of things they do as much as I can. I engage as much as I can, but I still feel like I'm on the outside looking in. I don't want to or like messaging first because I feel like I'm bothering them, or when I do, I feel like I'm left on red. Okay, thank you for the sip. All right, so there's a few aspects to this situation that I think are important to note. You kind of sound like a people pleaser, which as a people pleaser, I'm trying to be a recovering people pleaser. I can completely relate to probably the things that you do and how you feel. I will say one of the big takeaways that I have for this situation, feeling like a bother, feeling like, you know, you don't belong, feeling like you don't want to bother someone or burden someone or whatever, all of that, your brain's anxious conclusions are not always rooted in reality. I read this sentence when I was trying to like look for other coping mechanisms that I couldn't think of, or like ways to help you feel like you're not a burden to your friends and the people in your life. Let me say it again, louder for the people in the back. But your brain's anxious conclusions are not always rooted in reality, okay? So basically your anxiety and the way that, like, the conclusion that your brain has led to in your anxiety-ridden state, for example, I'm a burden and I'm bothering them, I don't want to reach out. Those conclusions, those feelings are not always rooted in reality. There may be no concrete reason for you to think that someone is bothered by what you're doing. And to be honest, most people, if they're bothered by someone, will just stop hanging out with them. Like, life is short, bro. If we actually don't like you, and I'm not saying we, like me, but like if I actually don't like you, I'm just gonna like slowly just like lose contact. Blah, blah. I'm gonna slowly, you know, stop talking to you. I'm just gonna let things fizzle. Like, unless it's super obvious that like you want to be my friend and keep talking to me and hanging out or whatever, then like I'll try to be as honest as possible. It just comes down to like, you know, if I don't feel like the friendship's compatible, then it is what it is. But based on what the submitter is saying, I don't think that their friends like have probably done anything to actually warrant feeling this way. I think it's just your brain's anxious conclusions. You like to pull a psyops and pretend to hang out with people I hate for years and years and they'll never know. Wow, that's a lot to unpack. I appreciate your dedication. I could never. Oh, I figured the sarcasm was there, although I appreciate the confirmation of that. Bless up people that use what are those things called? But like explicit statements of like context in chat, in text is so difficult. So yeah, so again, your brain's anxious conclusions are not always rooted in reality. Sometimes this can benefit us, most of the time it's horrible. So if someone generally thinks you are a bother, it doesn't want to hang out with you, they probably won't. Yeah, that's how it is. One of the kind of like coping mechanisms, suggestions that came up, and I thought was kind of an interesting discussion, was when you're feeling this way, try to change your thoughts from other focus to being self-focused. So there were some examples that I thought made this make sense, because when I first read that, I was like, what does that mean? So in other focus, is when you're thinking, oh, am I bothering them too much? You're focusing on the other person. Am I bothering them too much? A self-focus is, how do I define being bothersome? Like, what am I doing to be bothersome? What would I consider bothersome? How do I determine that? So instead of focusing on the other person, it's almost being a little bit more selfish, but to the benefit of everyone involved, right? Maybe a more concrete example of this idea was an other focused thought is, why don't they ever initiate plans? Like, why doesn't Duologs ever ask to hang out with me? He must hate me. Versus the self thought of that is, do I want to see them enough that I'm willing to contact them first? Like, do I want to hang out with Duologs enough that I'll reach out and be like, hey, let's hang out? Like, do I want that enough? Or do I only want it when they reach out to me? Right? So it's making you take a look at yourself and what you think for yourself and want for yourself versus always focusing on someone else. And part of that comes back to being a people pleaser, which to me it sounds like OP's a people pleaser. So try to focus on that. I also think another way to try and get yourself out of this mindset of bothering someone else is to reverse the situation. So if you feel like you're being a bother, think about the situation that you're going through and reverse the roles. If your friend was inviting you to this or talking to you about this or coming to you with whatever this is, would you feel like they're bothering you? Would you feel like it's a bother that they come to you about this, or like that they invite you out all the time, or whatever it is you have going on? Like, reverse the roles. Reverse you and your friend and swap positions. If you think that it's fine, then you need to recognize, hey, I'm being biased against myself. I'm being too harsh on myself. If my friend did this to me, I would think it's okay. I'd be happy to help them. So I need to, do the same thing, like act on what I believe, right? Yeah, it's another, you can do that too whenever you're worried about if you're being like sexist or not. Why is this? Huh. Okay, sorry. Ultimately, though, I think what is important about this situation is that you need to try and trace the origin of why you feel like a burden so that you can start to overcome that. Because feeling like a burden, feeling like you don't fit in with your friends, feeling like you're on the outside looking in, like that's not normal. Your group of friends, and you can have multiple different groups of friends, but your friends shouldn't make you feel that way. And it is possible that they are making you feel that way, because there are people who will keep someone around just to like be the punching bag. But more likely than not, it's a you thing. It's a mental thing. Your friends should be a safe place for you to, divulge how you're feeling, ask for help, be yourself, they should be a positive social interaction for you. So in order to overcome whatever it is that's making you feel like a burden and feel this way, like you need to find the origin of that. There's a lot of places that feeling could come from. So one of them is, it could be from your childhood. It could be the way that you were raised, the parental expectations that you have. Two big ones. One is high standards. So if your parents always had really high standards for you, then you could be continuing to put that pressure on yourself. and expecting like perfection out of yourself. And it's not realistic. We're humans. We fuck up. We make mistakes. You're not going to be perfect at everything you do. And the only person now that can judge you for that is you. So you need to be kinder to yourself. You don't deserve that kind of judgment. As long as you're not actively hurting someone and you're trying your best, like, who gives a fuck if you mess something up at work? If you get a D in a college test? Like, if you leave the laundry for a few days in the dryer? Like, it's fine. Give yourself some grace. Don't let those high standards that your parents put on you as a child carry over into your adulthood. Another like big one is that you had too much responsibility as a kid. So like you always had to take on all this responsibility. Like maybe you had to, you know, police yourself for doing your homework. You had to maybe make your own dinner. You had to clean up. Like you had to kind of be your own adult really early. And so now you're used to carrying all of that weight and all of that responsibility. You know, you don't need to and you shouldn't have to. So that could be part of the origin of why you feel this way. Another big aspect could be low self-esteem or low self-worth. So that can come from a few places. You could have been in a toxic romantic relationship that made you feel really low and unworthy. You could have had experiences with bullying, other people that made you feel like you had a low self-worth. You also could have had a strict religious upbringing. A lot of really, really strict or extreme religious upbringings can result in you feeling unworthy. Like it can be so extreme to where it's toxic. I don't think there's anything wrong with religion as long as, you know, you're not judging or hurting other people. You know, it's comforting for a lot of people, but when it's super, super strict or really maybe conservative might be the wrong word, but that level of strictness can cause low self-esteem or low self-worth in you. Another one is like a strong culture. Different cultures and your upbringing with certain cultures can actually lead to a lower self-esteem or a lower self-worth. Another or potential origin for why you might feel like a burden or like you're not part of the group is a physical or mental illness. Things like addiction or depression, any situation where you might need extra help can absolutely make you feel like a burden because you're asking for more help. Like, you know, if you're struggling with depression and you have a hard time cleaning up after yourself, making the bed, cooking your own meals, and you have a friend or a parent that'll come over and do those things for you, you might feel like, man, they're helping me again. I should be able to do this myself. I'm an adult. Like, no one's doing it for them. Like, I'm such a burden. But the thing is, if people are doing this for you, it's because they want to help you. They want to see you get better. They want to support you. We all go through different stages of life where we might need more help. We might need less help. We might be able to provide more help, or we might be able to provide less help than before. Like, it's a total flip of the coin or a roll of the dice. Like, we all have different phases. So those kinds of things, it's very special if someone supports you through those and they're doing it because they want to see you get better. So instead of feeling like a burden, try to appreciate their help. Ultimately, you know, try to trace the origin, find the origin of why you feel this way. Really, really examine in a non-biased way if it's anything that your friends do or if it's totally in your own head. And if it is in your own head, try to find the origin, try to find the reasons you feel this way, and then focus on building that self-esteem. All of these situations and potential origins for how you feel it can boil down to like just increasing your self-esteem, increasing how you feel about yourself in a positive way. Really grow and understand and know that you deserve emotional support. Every one of us deserves emotional support, and asking for emotional support from a friend is not a burden. That is part of their role as a friend. And a big one is to reframe apologies. So instead of saying, I'm so sorry for being late, say, thank you so much for waiting for me. Obviously, you need to say sorry sometimes, but trying to reframe apologies as a people pleaser, as someone who apologizes all the time when it's not always necessary, instead of apologizing all the time, try and thank people for what they do for you. That'll go a lot farther than an apology, especially when it's not, you know, like you didn't do something wrong on purpose, right? And the biggest one is therapy. We always, every single one of these, the thing I recommend the most is therapy. What if they hate themselves? I mean, if you hate yourself, then you know you need to build your self-esteem. Like, it's not, I don't know if I should say it's not normal, because I really hate the word normal. But if all humans hated ourselves, like truly hated ourselves, then I don't think the human race would even really still be around, you know? Like, we can't survive forever hating ourselves. There has to be a level of appreciation and esteem for yourself. And, you know, yeah, I'm not saying you specifically, dual logs, just a hypothetical you know? If you hate yourself, like, you have to work on that. And you know that your self-esteem is not, like, it's not there. And you need to have a little bit. I love yourself. I know. That's why you're a successful content creator. My good friend has a theory that basically to be a successful content creator, like 85 to 90% of them, like they all have some form of narcissism. You kind of need it to be successful in that field. Not always, like maybe like 90%, but I agree 100%. And she's also a successful content creator. So yeah, you have to have almost that level of delusion and that super strong self-esteem, because the world tries to tear you down in every other way. If you hate yourself, you need to work on it. You need to start, you know, reframing apologies, asking for help, and seeing therapy. Sometimes people can help themselves and get better on their own. A lot of the times we can't, though, and it's okay to ask for help, and therapy is a good place to get help. So yeah, thank you OP for submitting this question. I hope we helped, and I hope you feel better soon. Okay, let me get the next one on screen. You're welcome. What was it, your question? You don't have to answer that. These are supposed to be anonymous. If I was really smart, I would put these in ahead of time, but I'm not. Okay. Next question. Yeah, I didn't think so, but I had to ask anyway. Okay. The next submitter. Hi, Ojo-sama Riri. I work at an office, and I'm the only guy at work. I work with 5 other women. But lately, after we got some new hires, they've been stinking up the restroom. It's also bad because my office is near the restroom. So not only do I hear them, I can smell it if they don't turn on the extractor and spray aerosol at the end. I always turn on the water faucet and the extractor so they don't listen to me tootin' and rootin'. I also make sure I spray too at the end so it doesn't smell. So how can I tell them that they've been stinking up the place without being rude or an asshole? I'd like your feedback on this. Thank you. Hey, Victor, I'm doing good. How are you? So, it's potential that this response was a troll, but it's also potential that it's not. Because I can see people being frustrated with this situation. It's almost like if you're on an airplane and you're stuck, your seat is like right next to the bathroom. Dude, it sucks. It sucks. Because you have no choice and you're stuck there and you're gonna smell it. So, first off, they said that they, you know, how do I bring this up without being rude or being an asshole? I mean, just don't be rude and just don't be an asshole. That's the easiest way to not be an asshole, is to just not do it. For more clarification, don't single anyone out. You know, everyone poops. Everyone is stinky. It's possible that they have no clue you can hear or smell them from your desk, especially if you haven't told them, or if someone hasn't told them. Like, they might have no idea. Like, they would think, oh, it's the bathroom. It's got to be like semi, I don't know, aerated. That's not the right word. It's got to air itself out. It's a bathroom, like whatever. Like, they might have no clue. Yeah, idols don't. Idols don't, but we're not people. We're VTubers, so. So we don't as idols, but you know, everyone in the office, yeah. They all poop. Yeah. But to be totally honest, if this was the situation and I couldn't ask, like, if I could just ask to move desks, I might do that. If that's not an option, or if like everyone's near the bathroom or something, I would honestly talk to HR. It avoids a lot of potential problems. Like, if you talk to a person about it in general, it can come off as harassment. And I know that that sounds crazy, but I promise I've read about it and I've seen it. Like, because it's related to like bio and the bathroom and all of that, it can be considered like harassment, and you just don't want to have to deal with that. It's also super uncomfortable. Again, you don't want to single anyone out. That's an asshole move. You don't want to talk to someone specifically. Like, that's so uncomfortable and awkward. So my best recommendation would be to talk to HR, shoot them an email, or like stop by their cube or whatever. And again, don't name names, but just say, hey, I have a desk next to the bathroom. Like, people are constantly in there, of course, but they, you know, they don't use the fan to air it out. They don't spray when they're done, and the smell comes to my desk, and it really is disturbing. Like, I really need people to have some more toilet etiquette. Can you talk to people? And HR should, you know, submit a bulletin, talk in the next meeting about it or whatever. You know, something to like to help. You know, that's kind of HR's responsibility, so I would really ask them. It is possible you don't have an HR though, especially if it's like a smaller business, or maybe you don't have HR on site in your office or something. Spraying it makes it worse, like musty. I mean, it's better to spray. It depends. I think it depends on the spray. The best thing to do is actually to spray before you go. If you spray inside of the toilet before you go, it like is a lot better. From what I hear, you know, poopery exists for a reason and it works. But like, if you're in a small office and you're stuck next to the bathroom, it's a lot better to use the, you know how like you'll have a switch for the light and you'll have a switch for the fan? That helps like circulate the air on top of the spray. Like, it'll make a big difference, right? So if you don't have HR to talk to them about the issue and have them tell people about the problem, then maybe talk to your manager would be my second suggestion. Manager, supervisor. If you don't have one directly, maybe there's like an office operations excuse me, person, someone who runs like meetings like that or something, and tell them about the dilemma, ask if it can be mentioned at the next meeting, or send an email to the office just about bathroom etiquette, about spraying before or after yourself, etc. You know, you could ask if you could put signs in the restroom about being considerate for the next guest and the nearby cubicles, things like that. If you don't have anyone to ask, like worst case scenario, there's no one to ask, I don't see harm in putting a sign up as long as you make sure it's polite and PC. So something like, you know, keep this nice for the next person and the neighbors, you know. Spray and use the fan if you need to. Clean up after yourself. Like something like that. Like, could be a reminder, like they might not even be thinking about the fact that the bathroom is near some of the desks, right? So it's all about putting it in front of their face. I will say the comment about turning on the water faucet, like when you're using the restroom so that people can't hear you, that could be a cultural thing, because I had never heard of like running the water or like using running water to cover up your sounds until I was in Japan. The first, and I don't even think I realized it necessarily the first time, there were a lot of toilet seats that had like little music things that would create like a flushing water sound or a running water sound or music or something to cover up the sound of what you were doing. But I never, growing up in America, like ever heard someone run water to cover it up. Now, when I went in Japan, I heard multiple people, mostly women, run the water to cover up the sounds. And I've seen it like on maybe not airplanes, but I've seen it in other places since then. And it's usually specific cultures that do that. So if you are in an environment with different cultures or people from different places, you know, it could just be that their culture doesn't have that etiquette. Some people might think it's wasteful, like to run water. You know, everyone does this. Why would I run the water and waste the water for something that we all do? So I would just say have a little grace in that regard. Like maybe if in your country that is a normal thing, then that's one thing. But I just wanted to point that out, that it could be a cultural thing and not something super obvious to everyone in your office, you know? Hello, A. Otherwise, temporary solutions for yourself, I'd say maybe have a headset or some earbuds nearby, and if you see someone going into the bathroom, throw them on. Or if you're allowed to have like a little speaker that's kind of quiet, you can play that. You can have a little spray for your own cubicle, or like a wax melt. So not a candle, because most offices don't let you have a candle, but if you have like a thing that melts the wax and helps it smell better, you could put that there, or a diffuser on your desk. You could also wear a mask into the bathroom so you don't have to smell as much. Like maybe that would help. Thank you for the follow. I only say A. Welcome to the Ghosty Gang. But that's what I would do in your situation. I hope it helps and gets better. Yeah, I mean, it's part of life, but it's still uncomfortable and you don't want to work around that. So I don't blame you. Okay. On to the next one. Okay. Okay, this one's a bit longer. I think I'm gonna move myself over a little bit actually, so I don't cover it quite as much. Alright. As I wrote this, I'm currently gathering strength to push myself to get a referral letter from the GP, general practitioner, to get my mental health checked. It's incredibly difficult, very difficult. I'm afraid to go out there by myself. If I get scolded just to get the letter, I don't know if I can handle it, because even if I tried to suppress it, I'm still couldn't hold myself from crying. The internet kept talking about how psychiatrist, psychologist, or counselor can help with the patient with their mental problem, but I can't help but to feel doubt about it. I can feel it deeply ingrained within my mind and soul as it's slowly becoming a part of my personality. It's hard to imagine myself free from this debilitating anxiety and all of these unknown things that constantly dragging me down that I couldn't understand or recognize. I tried to understand my purpose, but I couldn't. It's fine if you couldn't give any advice regarding to my problem. All I wanted is to write all of these down. Like how you write on a diary, you know? First off, thank you for sharing. This one's definitely deeper and deeply personal. And even if you expect nothing out of it, I appreciate you sharing your problems and your worries and your thoughts with us and allowing us to talk about them. I don't know who wrote this, but I believe in you. I don't know who wrote it either, but I believe in them too, eh? Thank you for saying that. The most important thing that I'll say, and if you're here or if you watch the VOD or if you feel like this too, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not trained at all. Please, please, please see a therapist, a counselor, a psychiatrist, a psychologist. If you're in the US, you can dial 988 if you need help right now. If you need urgent help, please dial 988 and talk to somebody. I'm not sure if OP is in the US or not, but please continue on that journey to get your mental health checked, and please talk to a trained professional, a therapist, a counselor, psychiatrist, psychologist. Please. That being said, I am very, 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 very proud of you for trying to get a referral letter to get your mental health looked into. The hardest step that any of us have to take is admitting that something is wrong. Like fully admitting something is wrong and something's not okay, and making the moves to better ourselves, to better yourself. So know that no matter what happens, I'm proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself for taking that step. For trying to get the letter and starting the process off. It's so challenging. So please be proud of yourself for getting to that point, because a lot of people don't make it to that point. They're not willing to admit that there's something wrong. They're not willing to try and better themselves, and they will spend the rest of their life feeling this way. And you don't deserve to spend your whole life feeling this way. The emergency number in all of the EU is 112. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So US 988, EU 112. Please, if you feel this way right now and you're thinking about this right now, please dial those numbers, talk to someone. If EU or US is not your region, please look up. There are so many resources to support you and to get you started on that journey. You don't deserve to spend your whole life feeling this way about yourself. Growth doesn't come from consistency. Change doesn't happen if we keep doing the same thing over and over and hoping for change. right? We could get lucky. We could continue to live life the same way day in and day out, and maybe something will happen that will cause a change in us or change our life, but that's unlikely. Change happens, growth happens when we make ourselves uncomfortable and we try something different and we do new things. So in order to feel better, in order to change and grow and feel better, like, we have to put ourselves in uncomfortable situations, like, you know, getting our mental health checked, talking to the doctor, and starting with step 1. Okay. I also want to say that crying is okay. Crying is just a cathartic release of emotion. It's a totally natural response that our body does. And you know, it's okay. We all cry. It's actually really good for you to cry. It helps release those emotions, whether it's stress, anxiety, like something is overwhelming your body and you want to cry, please cry. We actually usually feel better after we cry. So if you feel like crying, like, cry. Nobody will judge you for crying, in the same way that nobody will judge you for going to the bathroom. No one's gonna judge you for crying. And if someone, especially a doctor, a professional, judges you, they ain't worth shit, and they should have their license removed, because crying is totally normal, natural. It's actually good for us to release those emotions instead of keeping them in our body. In the same way that, like, when you have adrenaline running and your body shakes because of the adrenaline, that's like part of your body trying to, the shaking is like trying to get rid of all of that excess energy that's like, and endorphins that are like swarming your body. Crying is kind of similar to that. So it's okay. You can cry. We all cry. We should all cry sometimes. I cry like daily. So please know, like, if you need permission from someone to cry, I'm telling you, it's okay. It's okay to cry. You don't need to hold yourself back. It's okay. I would also say, you know, get the referral, find a therapist, psychologist, whatever, counselor to help you, and try. So I would say, don't judge. You say that you feel doubt if, you know, one of these professions can help you. Don't judge if they can help you until you try to let them help you. So it's possible it might take a few tries to find the right doctor. It's possible that it takes a few sessions with the right doctor for you before it feels helpful and before you feel like you're making progress. That's okay. Keep trying. Change comes when we make ourselves uncomfortable. We have to put in the effort to, you know, to find the person that we click with that's gonna help us, right? So I say keep trying. Give it the college try. Yeah. I've heard from multiple people that it took a few attempts before they found the right psychologist for them. So, you know, if it takes a few attempts, that's okay. It's just practice for the right one, you know? As for the line about trying to understand your purpose, but not being able to understand your purpose, right now, at this point in your life, living is your purpose. Everything else is secondfold. You don't always need this big mission to keep living. Like, sometimes it's okay for your goal to just be to survive another day, and preferably be happy more often than not. So, you know, if you need to just focus on living, if your purpose for a little bit just needs to be surviving the day and getting to the next one, that is okay. That is a perfectly wonderful, valid purpose. Trying to be happy and making it to the next day. Sometimes that's all we have. That's okay. Sometimes it can help you to find a purpose. So if that's the case, if you're floundering, if living for yourself isn't enough, if finding a purpose, something to put yourself into, helps you, then by all means do it. So like, I know I found purpose in making another person's day better. I found purpose in providing comfortable places for people and providing laughter for people. Like, living for other people's sake helped me overcome my own struggles. And so sometimes finding a purpose to make it to the next day can help you, but know that you don't have to find that purpose. You know, start with yourself. You don't have to find purpose right now. There will never be another you. You're irreplaceable. Jam's irreplaceable. A is irreplaceable. Ruckus is irreplaceable. Mark is irreplaceable. Victor is irreplaceable. Duologs is irreplaceable. Everyone is irreplaceable. There will never be another person exactly like you. And you should live for yourself first and know that there can't ever be another you. Find a reason that keeps you going. Hi Jam, how are you? I know there's ads, but I can't prevent the ads, so it is what it is. So something that I like to think about a lot, and I try to say it a lot to keep reminding myself, but we aren't promised another day. Nobody and nothing has told us, you know, you for sure are gonna get at least 65 years, and then after that it depends on how well you treated. Like, nothing tells us that we are promised no time. We're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised another month. We're not promised another year. We're not promised another 10 years. There's no point in time that we're guaranteed. I could leave after the stream to go drive to get fucking Taco Bell and have an accident and not be here anymore. Like, we're never promised any amount of time. So the time we do have, like right now, we have to find ways to enjoy the time that we get. And it's okay to need help finding that joy. You know, we all need help. Humans are not islands. It's okay to need help to find the joy. Ask for it, right? Yeah. I know this one was kind of deep. I wanted to take this particular question seriously because it is serious. You know, that's a very serious emotional situation, mental situation that you're in. So I wanted to take it very seriously, but I will say that OP, whoever you are, please know that I have no doubt that you are appreciated, that you are cared about, and that you are supported more than you realize and know at all. Feeling this way is not quote unquote normal. I hate that word normal, but you don't need to live your life this way. So please get resources to help yourself, because I know there are people who care about you and would hate to know that you feel this way and would hate for you to not be here with us anymore. So please know that you're appreciated and cared about, and And everyone just wants to see you happy. So. Yeah. Welcome back from Ad Hell, guys. Also, hi, Prince. I don't think I said hi, Prince, but hello. Here. All right. We got another one and another one. I feel like you guys are really listening today. There's less conversation than normal. And that's okay. I'm prepared to yap all on my own. Nothing better than a woman yapping. Yeah, Doodlelogs is making a presence today. I mean, there's some things better than a woman yapping. There are few things, but they do exist. Like exactly. They do wear. No. So better than a woman yapping? Yeah, like really good sushi. Really good sushi is pretty up there. A trip to Japan? Pretty up there. 2 women yapping to each other together? Yeah, true. That's probably better than 1 woman yapping. Okay. The next situation. The next ask. You saw a recipe for ramen mac and cheese? Oh shit. You should post that in my Discord for context. Women's can do no wrong? That's true. That's correct. I feel like that deserves a pin. Because it's very based and accurate and true. We're never wrong. At least I'm never wrong. I say this all the time. You guys know. I'm never wrong. You like listening to them yap in a language that isn't my native language? That is fun. I enjoy listening to other languages. And I like practicing my second language, so maybe I'm biased. Okay. Rip link pin. It's okay. You can just do exclamation mark advice like it says in the title, and then you get the link. Ta-da! Easy peasy. And it encourages people talking in chat, which is also great for the algorithm or something. I don't know. English is not my native language. Oh, so you're saying specifically you like listening to people speaking English because it's not your native language. It makes sense because I like listening to people speak Japanese, which is not my native language. Yeah, I should hope so. Well, actually, I'm making a big assumption that English is your first language, Doodlelogs, and I probably shouldn't assume that. But... okay. Now that we've all had a little mental break, I prepared these responses ahead of time because I like to do a little bit of research and really like dive into the situation. I don't want to just give blind advice typically, but I do have a few that have come in since earlier today. So I figured we could discuss those too, and I have like 2 other ones that I can pull up as well. But yeah, so my responses to the next few might not be as polished as my others or researched. More of a conversation with chat probably, but I think they're worth talking about now. They're good submissions that are good discussions. So you struggle hard when speaking? That's okay. I mean, we all make mistakes even in our native languages, so there's nothing wrong with making a mistake in a non-native language. And that's part of learning, right? You learn the most from mistakes. So like, for example, the first time I was in Japan, I was 14 and we had a one-night stay with a host family. It was over spring break, freshman year of high school. And it was 2 of us in one family, and they like took us out to dinner. We went to a conveyor belt sushi restaurant with the family. Like, they were amazing. They were incredible people, so kind. And I'm the kind of person who always tries to what's the word? Like, apply my knowledge, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm with a family that's like from Japan, born and raised, like live here, they speak Japanese. I should practice the Japanese I've been learning. I've been studying it for almost a year. Like, I should practice what I know. And the mom asked us, oh, when did you come to Japan? I think she said it in Japanese first, probably. And then she said it in English. And I said, oh, haha, I know the word for yesterday. In my head, I'm thinking, I know the word for yesterday. I know today, tomorrow, yesterday. I said, I came ashita. Ashita. For those that don't know, ashita is tomorrow. Yesterday is kino. I said, I came. When did you come to Japan? Tomorrow. And of course, like, the whole family starts laughing. And it wasn't like, they weren't like making fun of me laughing. It was more of a like, oh my God, that's like, it just sounds funny, right? Like, I'm sure they knew what I meant. And it's just one of those things, right? And I was so confused. I was like, oh my God, why is everyone laughing? And the other girl that was with me was like, oh, you said ashita. That's tomorrow. Did you mean kino yesterday? And I was like, fuck. But you know what? Ever since that moment, I never fucking forgot that kino is yesterday and ashita's tomorrow. I never forgot. It's still there. So yeah, we learn through mistakes. It's okay. And I guess I will say, at least Americans with like foreigners or people who didn't speak English as a first language, some Americans in some regions in America can kind of be dicks about it. But if you're in a more international area like Houston or New York or Chicago or LA or somewhere like that where there's more people and more languages, like, you might have a better time. But Americans assume I'm being mean. Why would people assume you're being mean? Is it a tone of voice thing? Is it like, why do you think that they assume you're being mean? Because I'm an American, so I could maybe help you out with that. Time zones could make that true. No, Japan is ahead of time. So if it was, what is today? July 21st. If it was July 21st when I was in Japan and I said, oh, I got here tomorrow, that would be June 22nd. But in America, it would be June 20th. So if it was the reverse, maybe. But not at that point. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the next submission. Let me read it out for you guys. How do you deal with feeling lost and not knowing what to do next if something doesn't work out? The feeling has been eating at me for a while. I see my siblings have a general idea of what they're doing, and I thought I knew what I wanted to do, and now I don't know how to go about it. I feel a little bit scared, as I don't want to feel like a burden. But I have a hard time figuring out what I'm good at. I do stuff on the side, but the income isn't stable. But I'm just trying to get a better idea of what I should do next. Sorry if it's a bit long, I just don't know what I'm doing at times. I think they're trying to practice their French when they talk to me, and I'm trying to practice my English. They just think, oh, I wouldn't assume that. I wouldn't assume that at all. I was just reading a book about crucial conversations and how the story we tell ourselves changes how we interpret what's happening and how we feel. You can always preface by saying, oh, like you can keep speaking in French to me, but if it's okay, I'd like to practice my English with you. Let me help you out, blah, 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 blah. You know? Like, you can always preface by just explaining, like, oh, are you learning French? I'm learning English. Like, we can both practice together. You know, when did you get here? What was your question again? Like, can I help you find anything? Like, there's nothing wrong with just prefacing and saying that, in my opinion. In fact, if someone said that to me, like if I was in Japan and someone said, and I was like at a store or something, and someone was like speaking to me in English, and they told me, oh, I don't get to practice my English very much. I'd like to try to speak to you in English if that's okay. I would totally be like, of course. Oh my gosh. I'm happy to help. And I would try to practice my Japanese with them. If you both understand a language, you don't have to talk. You don't have to have a conversation in the same language if you both understand it, at least somewhat, right? I actually have a Japanese friend who she'll speak English to me and I'll speak Japanese to her. So that we're both using our other languages. Yeah. I think explaining intent is super useful, and people should do it more often so that there's no like hurt feelings or nothing's misconstrued, right? I recommend the next time that happens, just being honest and forward about it. You know? Yeah, I'm so sorry on behalf of American tourists and how they're not all of them, but some of them are pieces of shit. Anyway, so yeah, we are really loud. Again, when I was first in Japan, actually it wasn't when I was first in Japan, because when I was younger and I was in Japan, I was with my Japanese high school teacher, who was a Japanese lady. So I think she knew how to control us so that we didn't break a lot of cultural rules and things that you should avoid just to be respectful. When I was studying abroad in college, you know, I rode the train by myself all the time. And I had a group of some mostly American, but some Canadian and Singaporean, and there were Australian. There were some scattered countries, but like all English speaking people, mostly American, staying in the same share house that I was in, like apartment kind of. And so we would go to places together. So it would be a group of like 10 plus Americans on the train. And, you know, college kids in the foreign country hanging out, they're gonna talk. And Americans are loud. And I remember one of the first times we gathered as a group to go do stuff on our own. And this older Japanese guy started yelling at us about how we're loud Americans and we need to stop talking on the train and we're being really rude and we need to shut up and stop being loud. That will humble you real fucking fast. and you will realize how loud Americans are if you like spend any time in a different country and then come back. Like you're gonna be at a very different like level if you try to be respectful and like pay attention to how other people are. So yeah, I know. We're loud. We have the space to be loud. Americans aren't used to having to be quiet. We always have the space to be loud everywhere. And most Americans have never ridden a metro or a train before, and they don't understand how easy it is to be loud in that kind of space. The only Americans who really have any experience with like trains or metros or subways is if you live in New York or Chicago. Outside of that, maybe a little bit in like San Francisco. Outside of that, we all drive. We have our own cars and we can be as loud as we want. So it's just like not a common courtesy for us to think about. Anyway, I digress. Back to OP. How do you deal with feeling lost and not knowing what to do next if something doesn't work out? So this question's a little convoluted, I guess, but I feel like, no, it's probably fine. So OP says their siblings have a general idea of what they're doing and how they thought they knew what they wanted to do, but now they're not sure. They don't want to feel like a burden. They don't know what to do in life. They're feeling lost and they don't know what to do. So first of all, I would stop comparing yourself to your siblings. Unless you've asked them, like, hey, do you know what you're doing? You know, do you know where life is taking you? Unless you've, had that conversation. Why do I have hiccups? Unless you've had that conversation, you're on the outside looking in. And what do we all like to do? We like to portray on the outside to other people that we have it all together and that everything is happy and perfect. We all like to have our beautiful Instagram feed be what people see if they look at us. And that's simply not true. A lot of the time. Everyone has their own struggles. Everyone feels lost sometimes. Everyone, like, sometimes life just takes us and we don't entirely know where that's going, but like it just be that way sometimes. We just might not let other people see that or know that, you know? So stop comparing yourself to your siblings. They also could have had, like, they could have had goals that were just more concrete than yours. So I can kind of use myself as a good example for this. So my younger sister, she's 3 years younger than me. Her whole life, like ever since she was a kid, I remember her saying she's gonna grow up and be a mom and she wants to have kids and she wants to be a mom. She's like always wanted that. That's super concrete. So even though she's younger than me, she's married, she has a kid, she's gonna have another one eventually. Like, she has a house, she has that life. Now, if you look at that compared to my life, again, 3 years older than her, single, not like, I'm nowhere close, probably don't even want kids, whatever, doesn't have a partner, doesn't own a house, all of that. Like, if you just look at those two things, you might think, I'm comparing myself to my sibling, like she knows what's going on, like she's got her life together, whatever. That was her goal. That's what she wanted. It was a very concrete idea for her to seek out and like create that opportunity for herself, right? Whereas what I wanted was a little different, less concrete, like less obvious to people looking in. So just because maybe from the outside your siblings look like they're more successful or they have an idea of what they're doing, like, don't assume that. Yeah, don't assume that. Duolog knows exactly what he's doing. You know, I'm glad you feel that way. Sometimes we get lucky and we do what we're doing and we stumble into like a position and that's okay. Sometimes luck works out for us. Sometimes it doesn't. I my little brother does make himself sad. See, like it happens a lot. I think it's really easy with like siblings. If you have one that seems more of like the standard life, or if you have one that's like really rich or really successful or really established in something, like they have something that's really outstanding, it's very easy to compare yourself and be like, well, we were raised in the same household, the same family, like why don't I have everything they have? Why am I not as successful as them? And it's like, that kind of comparison is never going to get you anywhere. It's never going to make you feel good. We're different people. It's like, it's just, we're different people. We have different personalities. Sometimes it's being in the right place at the right time. The amount of work you put into something, like it's a huge factors can lead to huge shifts in your life for good or bad reasons. So comparing yourself to siblings or to anyone is really not healthy, and we do it a lot. I know I've fallen prey to that a lot, especially recently, but like it's never gonna lead you to feeling better. So just do your best to stop comparing yourself to other people is the first thing. You're more successful than everyone in your family. You've got to stop comparing yourself to unrealistic standards. It's also like, yeah, you are more successful than most people on the internet. So it's fair to say you're probably more successful than most people in general, right? It would be like, you know, a random tech startup comparing themselves to like Apple or something, you know? Like everyone starts somewhere. You can get to different levels eventually, and it's just it's not fair to compare yourself. You gotta look at the cards life has dealt you and go from there. Also, hi Maple. You went on a downward spiral, so I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm at least having fun now. Hey, if you're having fun in life, that's the most important thing. Truly. If you're having fun, like that's the most we can ask for. Okay, so the note about comparison, I'm glad we covered that. Not wanting to feel like a burden, have a hard time figuring out what I'm good at. I do stuff on the side, but the income isn't stable. Trying to get better idea. So it's hard because there's not a lot of details. Like OP didn't give me a lot of details. So there's a lot of variables that would change and change my answer to this question, to this request. So if you're still a student, maybe you're studying, getting a degree, I'm gonna assume not, I'm gonna assume like college or above. Like maybe you're studying or in a program or something to progress your career. So maybe you live at home or you have other people supporting you income wise. That's okay. If they're okay supporting you, you know, be supported. That's kind of the role. Like if they're supporting you, they're saying, hey, I'm going to support you while you do this to better your career. Like finish what you're doing and then you can support yourself. Like that, they've put themselves in that position. So don't feel like a burden. They're doing that very intentionally, whether it's a parent or a sibling or whatever. Doing side jobs and such is great. Like do side jobs to help discover your passions, right? Pick up a part-time job if that would make you feel better, like an actual part-time job at a restaurant or a store or something. If you would feel better about contributing income or a more steady income, that can make you feel a lot better. It can also put you on more of a schedule, which typically putting yourself on a schedule and having things planned helps you be more successful and live your life a little bit better. I know there's science behind it. I've read studies about it before, but yeah, having that out there is good. You did yes, aptitude tests are a great option too. Not sometimes, but like we're harsh judges of ourselves, and it can be hard to see where our strengths are. So doing some aptitude tests are fantastic. Yeah, it might not tell you anything you don't know, but it might surprise you. So I can't think of any in particular that I could recommend, but look into aptitude tests. Try to think about what you've enjoyed learning or what you think you're good at and go from there, right? Like when I was in school, I kind of figured out after the fact that I really liked solving problems. And I was like, oh, I wish I'd known this about myself earlier. So maybe I could have positioned myself in a different career where my job is to solve problems, right? Like supply chain or computer science or something like that. Like there are like tools to help us learn about ourselves, and I think it's super useful. The Carl Jung one, I have heard of that one. So I think aptitude test is a great idea. Also, hi Frank. It's okay to be scared of the future, but don't feel like a burden. And don't feel lost if you're not sure what to do. Like if you're truly not sure what to do, just find something that you want to do. Like if you, like, for example, I know if you have any degree, any degree from college, it doesn't matter what it's in, any 4-year university degree, you can apply for the JET program and go teach English in Japan. They pay you a full salary. You get put somewhere. They arrange everything. Your visas, all of that is with the government, whatever. Like, find something like that where it's like, oh, I don't know what I want to do, but I can apply to go be a teacher in a different country. Like, let's do it. Like, if you don't know what to do, then the world is your oyster. You can do anything that you want. You can try something new, and guess what? If you don't like it after a year, you can come back and find something else to do. Yeah, the JET program is what I did to teach English in Japan. If you don't want to be that adventurous, like go to a different country, that's okay. Like I said, get a part-time job at home. Maybe get a job in a area of town or in like a type of company or something that you wouldn't expect. So maybe, like, you know, if you've never worked in food service, work in food service. If you've never worked a retail job, like, get that. Like, see if someone's hiring a secretary or something like that. Like, just try new things. The beauty of being young and not knowing where your life is going is that your life can go anywhere and you can do anything with it. So take the nervousness and anxiousness and turn it into excitement. You think people are too worried about being scared or nervous. It's natural to feel that way. It's not fun, but it shows you care about it. Yeah, I agree. I also read recently about a study that was done, and we were just talking about this earlier, but anxiety and excitement are the emotions, but the response in your body, like biologically, is the same. So in your body, what's going on is the same if you're anxious or if you're excited. And so they did a study where people were going to go give a public speech. And before they were giving the speech, they told some of those people about this and they encouraged them to actively try to change their emotional response from anxiety to excitement. And those people that actively tried to change their emotional response from anxiety to excitement actually did better. Like, they performed better and felt more confident in their speeches than the people who did not, and they were just anxious. So it's easier said than done, probably. But if you're anxious about something, if you're scared or nervous, try to change that emotional response to excitement and use that energy to drive you into action. That's okay that you're a college dropout. You're still more successful than everyone here, probably. You don't need college. I think some programs like that don't require college degree. I just know Jet does. My sister's a college dropout too. And a coworker I used to work with, and my dad. You can't join Jet. You can't join Jet. Somehow, I don't think you'd want to anyway, though. I can't see you being an English teacher. I won't lie. I'm a dropout and my family doesn't let me forget it. You should tell your family to fuck themselves. Sorry. I think it's ridiculous. First of all, there's no winning here, okay? And we'll digress on this topic for a minute because I'm very passionate about it. Let me point out that I'm someone who graduated college. I always knew I wanted to go to college. I always knew that I would like to go beyond like just a normal 4-year. Like I'd love to get a master's. Like I've always been very driven educationally, but I also have no problem and have no judgment for someone who doesn't feel that way. And I have always felt that college and higher education is not meant for everyone, but especially my generation and around my generation, there was a lot of push for everybody to go to college. So a lot of people tried and a lot of people failed, whether it's they found another opportunity or it was too much for them and they dropped out. It doesn't matter the case, like the cause, but a lot of people did not finish college. And so now, like both sides suck. You're shamed for not finishing college, but also finishing college doesn't mean shit right now. Like it doesn't really mean anything, because it was originally supposed to basically propel you so that instead of having to work like super low minimum jobs, right? It kind of like puts you above that. Like, oh, you did college, like you have some knowledge. Okay, we can start you here, right? That didn't matter. It doesn't matter when everyone in the generation goes to college, you know? So there's no winning. And if people in your life that are supposed to care about you continually bring you down for something like that, you need to tell them, hey, I don't like when you joke about this or tease me about this. I don't think it's funny. Can you please not do that? And if they continue to do that, then you need to tell them to fuck off or stop spending time with them. Because if someone actually cares about you and you tell them, hey, this thing, like, you know, it's not funny to me. I don't like that it keeps getting brought up like this as like a negative, you know? Can you please not? And they continue to do it. What that says is they don't care about how you feel. They just keep you around to shit on you. And like, that's not okay. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are to me. If you shit on me and I tell you to stop and you don't stop and clean up your mess, then I'm just gonna leave it there for you to clean up and not talk to you again. Like point blank. And it's easier said than done. It's hard to cut out family. But that kind of stuff is super toxic. And they might not know that it actually bothers you or that you take it really negatively if you've never said anything. So you should say something. But yeah, you should say something. And if they don't listen to you, that's when I would pull away. Yeah, my family loves me too, Dual Logs, even though I'm a failure. I feel like people put too much emphasis on money as a point of success, but how you feel should be integrated into your thoughts on success. Yeah, success looks different for a lot of people. Some people are born some of the happiest people I've met. They're mad successful in life. It just depends. For a lot of people, they can't reach success without money. Like, they might not care about money, but to a lot of people, success is having a family, having a house, having a car, having a job, or whatever. And you can't do all of those things without money. Right? I mean, you can, but it's really fucking hard. And so a lot of people see success in a monetary way. I think a lot of people also, since we're a capitalistic society, they're influenced by, you know, capitalism and think that success is being able to buy all these things and having things, you know? My dad, when I was growing up, was making a shit ton of money. His monthly bonus was more than some people made in a year. But when he quit and became a professor, he was so much better to be around and he gets to spend more time. Yeah, for sure. Money isn't always good. Money just gives you more options. Money doesn't mean happiness. Money just gives you more options to find happiness. I don't remember who put it that way. I definitely heard someone say that. But yeah, like you can be so rich and be miserable. It's just that money gives you more ways to not be miserable, right? It gives you more access to help, you know, to doctors, to therapists, whatever. Financial security is super important to happiness and your mental health. And so like that's a big one that a lot of people struggle with, right? I've said it to them, but they think I'm too sensitive and a drama queen. And so I have this problem to stay quiet and not fully express myself. Yeah, okay. That makes me so angry for you. That makes me so angry for you. Like, the next time they say it, every time, if I was in your shoes, Frank, every time they say something like that, I would say, I don't like when you say that. I'm not sensitive or a drama queen. I just don't think it's funny. Or if they say an offhanded comment about being a dropout, I would make an offhanded comment about some other shit that they did that's fucked up that might make them upset. Like, I mean, that's toxic. The best thing to do, is to distance yourself and spend as little amount of time with them as possible. You don't need blood family to have your own family. And if they're not gonna support you and try to do the best for you, then they don't deserve you. And that just is what it is. Like, that's very toxic and negative. And obviously I'm making a rash judgment based on like one situation that you're saying here. But like, you have a job, you have a steady job, you have a salary, you can take care of yourself. Like, what? When you think of a friendship, and when you think of any relationship, a friendship, your family, a partner, any of that, they should be adding to your life, not taking away from it, right? Obviously, in a partnership, a relationship, like a romantic one, there's give and take, right? But if you're better alone than you are with someone, then they're not for you, and they don't deserve your life, because every relationship that comes to you and is part of your life should be adding to your life, not taking away from it, period. Money shouldn't be the end all, for sure. Money doesn't make you happy, but it can get rid of a lot of unhappy things. Absolutely. It can get rid of a lot of unhappy things, and it can give you more options and opportunity to solve unhappiness, right? Yeah. I mean, there are plenty of people who are rich and famous and are no longer with us of their own accord. Like, we know money isn't happiness. It just makes it easier to find it. Potentially. It can. Anyway. I'd say I'd get off of my high horse, but that's kind of the whole purpose of this show, isn't it? So fuck it, I'm staying on my high horse. But yeah, OP. It's okay to not know what you're doing next. I think that's perfectly fine. I think that you can take some time to examine yourself and really think about what you might want from yourself in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years. I always really hated that. I really hate long-term goals like this, actually, because I don't mind short-term goals like within a year or two, but anything longer than that, I've always hated, because I can't ever picture like where I'll be and what my life will look like. But give yourself time to really think about what you want out of your life at that point in time, and kind of work your way backwards and thinking how you can get there. Maybe you want to move somewhere, maybe you want to have your own house or apartment or whatever, maybe you want to have a certain job, any of that. Like, just find something to put your energy and your passions into, and things will come, things will happen. And if they don't, at least you'll be happy, right? And if you're concerned about income, just get a job. What I think a lot of people don't realize is most people don't like their job. Like, I think it's very, very few and far between, probably like 5% of people who are actually passionate about their job and enjoy their job. Like, I think that is super, super rare. And you are extremely, extremely lucky and blessed if you are passionate about your career and love what you do. I saw that in my father. He was a chef. He loved his job, and that's a tough job. You're on your feet 12 hours a day, away from your family, cooking for other people. But he's so passionate in the kitchen, like, and it brings him so much joy and creative expression. And I feel like it's very, very rare to have that. And that's what I've learned, is that the illusion of actually being passionate about your job or your company or like where you are is super, super rare. It's good to care about what you do, in the sense of you care about, you know, that you're doing a good job. But at the end of the day, especially if you're working for another company, it's a little different if you're self-employed like Duologs, but especially if you're like in corporate America or like working for someone else, most people don't love their jobs. Most people don't care about their jobs. They just care about doing a good job and getting the paycheck. Like, truly, like, it's okay. It's okay. It's absolutely okay to work a job just for a job, right? Like, it's a job. Do not work. Most people don't work to live. Most people don't live to work. They work to live. There we go. Who's SN13? Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Ghosty Gang. It's hard to like everything 100% of the time. Exactly. You enjoy what you do, and I'm glad to hear that. There are people who enjoy what they do, or enjoy the company they work for, or both. But I think it is less common than people realize. And it's okay. Like blah, blah, blah. What's a good example? Like a janitor, okay? Like someone whose job it is to clean a place, right? To sweep it and mop it and vacuum and replace the toilet paper and scrub the toilets and stuff. There are probably people who enjoy the act of cleaning and feel satisfaction when they've cleaned something and it's all clean and nice, that work that job. There probably are some people like that. But like, when you think of a job like that, probably most people are just working the job so that they can live their life, right? They didn't go to the job and apply and be like, oh my God, I love cleaning. I love scrubbing toilets. I love doing this. Like, this is the job for me. Are there people like that work it? Probably. But for the most part, it's probably fair to say that that's not true, right? But how many janitors do we have, like, all over, right? How many cleaners do people have? Maids that come to your house, like, all of that, right? So, like, that's true for every job. Like, that's true for every I keep trying to think of this word. Industry. Having a job feels better than not having a job. Yeah, it sure fucking does. As someone who spent 10 months laid off last year, I wouldn't wish that on like my most hated person on the internet. Like, okay, well, maybe like, you know, maybe like one person, but like, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. because you're constantly working to find a job. You're constantly stressed about finances. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And knock on wood, but I better not get laid off again, like, ever, because that fucking horrible. And I'm gonna have to be dealing with the consequences of that for years. Not years, actually. That's part of why I'm moving, so that I can pay off the debt I had to incur just to survive because I couldn't get a job. And anyone who's been around here long enough knows, anyone who was here during that time knows, like, we were grinding, man. We were applying for jobs. We were interviewing. I worked as a paralegal for that shit fucking attorney. That piece of shit individual who I hope steps on every Lego his kids play with. Like, you guys know, it's not like I was sitting around twiddling my thumbs hoping someone would just pop in and give me a job, right? Like, so yeah, not having a job when you need to have a job, one of the worst things. And I mean, granted, like, if you're in a partnership and you have someone else that also makes an income and you guys can support each other, that lessens the burden. It was definitely worse since I'm alone. I live alone. Like, it's all on me, right? I had no one to fall back on. 6 months working nonstop with no pay. Oh, what? Is that legal? I hope their floor is made of Legos. Yeah. I hope both sides of his pillows are hot. Yeah. And I hope every toilet seat he sits on is warm. What did they do? Oh God, how do I even begin, guys? Well, he hired me for a full-time position, which ended up being pretty much just part-time. And then, because it was hourly, and if there wasn't work to do, we'll digress into this. So because I was a paralegal, instead of like a normal hourly job where you clock in and clock out, attorneys, and this is like paper legal work, not like in a courthouse legal work. So instead of clocking in and clocking out, you have to bill your time to each project. So basically, like, you know, if there was something for documents for company Y that an attorney was working on, and I helped for 2 hours on these documents for company Y, in my time card, I put 2 hours for, you know, this activity on company Y. So if there was no work for them to give me to do, I had no work to put on the timesheet. So I just didn't get paid. So I was sitting around waking up every morning, being on my computer by 8 o'clock. But some days I wouldn't get anything to do until 2 p.m. And it was just hours I had to be available, but not paid for. And I tried putting it on my time card because I asked, there was another paralegal there, and I asked her, you know, what do you do? How do you get 40 hours? And she said, oh, well, you can put available but no work on your time card. So I did that. And then without telling me, my boss, who was the owner of this very tiny law firm, didn't pay me for those hours. And the reason he got away with it is because I was a contract worker. So this is very common for like new employees. They'll have you be a contract worker for the first 1 to 3 months while they make sure you're a good fit and you learn, and then you get to be full-time. So that was the plan, is by 3 months, I would then be full-time. So when that all happened, I was like, okay, it's okay. There's only like another month until 3 months, like, and then I'll be full-time and it'll be better. Because then if they don't have work to give me, that's on them. It's not on me. I don't get punished for it. They get punished for it for not using my time, right? No, because at 3 months, my boss, not a word. I actually looked at the calendar and I was like, oh shit, it's been 3 months. Actually, a week ago was 3 months. Maybe I should reach out to him. He's a busy man running a company and being an attorney, and he probably just didn't realize. So I reached out to him, didn't answer me. Reached out again, didn't answer me. finally called me back literally I called on Monday and texted and emailed. He called me back Friday at 3:30 p.m. I didn't answer because I was driving. So I called him back. He didn't answer, but his voicemail said, "Oh, we can talk about this next week." I called next week. He didn't answer. 2 days later, he called me back and he said, "Well, you're doing this one particular task a little slow. So we're not going to make you full-time yet. We want to see you do this task for another like week or two before we make you full-time." Are you fucking kidding me? Dude, I wanted to strangle him. Strangle him. You know how long it took for him to offer me to be full-time? When I quit that job, 6 months when I okay, so I got laid off in January. Officially, my last day was the 1st of February. And then I found a new job in October. When I quit that job, when I was literally the day I was making the phone call to my boss to quit, 6 months after working there, he said, "Oh yeah, we need to talk about you being full-time. We can extend that offer to you now." Are you I'm telling you, I don't think I've ever hated working for someone as much as I hated working for him. I don't think I've ever hated a human being with my whole heart and soul as much as I hated this man. I could not even, it does, yeah. Yeah. The paralegal girl that I worked with was awesome. And I think she really felt for me. But holy shit did I hate him. Yeah, it was atrocious. I don't think I've been more miserable in my life than last year. Yeah. So, that being said, having a job, for the most part, is better than not having one. But for sure, working under that guy was like miserable. Actual misery. Does he have a billboard? It was a very small company, so I don't want to reveal who it was because A, you would be able to find me probably pretty easily, and B, it would be very obvious who's trash talking. And I'm a professional. I remember those days. Fuck that dude. Yeah, I think I've blacked a lot of that memory out. I don't know if he has a billboard. But yeah. Lego floor is too nice. I agree. Can you call it a job? It was a scam. I think every job that is contract work in America is kind of a scam. I don't think contract work, I think if you're working more than 20 or 25 hours a week or something, like legally it shouldn't be contract. Like, I think it's fucked up that contract can be full-time. It's just so companies don't have to give you benefits. Dulog sweating. Why are you sweating, Dulog? I mean, that's the problem. There are legitimate reasons for contract work where like a full-time employment doesn't make sense. But then companies take advantage of that. All my employees are, yeah, but did they work 40 hours a week? Like actually, and you pay them 40 hours a week? Like, I don't know. He was the lawyer. No, he wasn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like freelance, right? Like freelance and contract are kind of in the same vein. Like there's a reason that those types of jobs exist. If you're working 40 hours a week and your employer has you hired on as a contract worker, working full-time 40-hour-a-week jobs, then then I don't think you should be a contract worker. You should be a full-time hire that gets the benefits of being a full-time hire for the company. It's a little different when it's like a small business that doesn't have benefits, or you're not working like 40, like it's, your situation's a little different, Dulags, but 2 managers work that much, but they get paid a salary. 40 hours? You think they actually work 40 hours a week? Wow, where was this job last year when I didn't have one? Because I'd be a great fucking manager, just saying. Also, thank you for the 30 bits on the Giga emote. Yeah, commissions and per job stuff for YouTube and content creation. Yeah, it's a little different of a situation, I think. That's what happened to you, Evil? Jesus. We want to talk about your contracts, Marcus? No. Worked for my mom's trucking company. On the last 6 months, company was struggling, so she asked for the biggest favor, and that was not to get paid, to stay afloat, to catch up and pay the other drivers. So I worked non-stop, living off of savings and just $200 every now and then. In the end, company closed. Have a big balance owed to me because it's reported in my taxes what I was supposed to get. Holy shit, Frank, you gotta stay away from this family, my guy, my man. You gotta stay away, cause like that's very illegal. First of all, working for free, super illegal, especially if they kept you on as a W-2. Like, that's super illegal. Oh Lord, there's an ad about to start, guys, sorry. Yeah, Frank went through it. Manager, baby. Yeah, I think wanting to be a manager in general is pretty rare, but I think I'm pretty good at managing people. At least I think I would be. So I'm like, put me in management. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens there, but worked there for over a year as IT, waiting for them to extend and hire my full time. I worked 40 hours a week. It was an hour and a half drive. Oh God, an hour and a half drive. Helping them take apart their old computer systems, and the manager just walked and said, "Oh yeah, Evil BW, you're not hired. I don't care why you're here." Jesus, Evil. Nah. That's fucked. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I know my my ex's dad. So he was French. They were French. They were from France. And he came to America because he was a pulmonologist, a lung doctor. But he had contract work, and maybe they were longer contracts, like 5 years, not 1 year at a time, but they'll hire foreign doctors for contract because they can hire them for cheaper than American, because American doctors aren't gonna take fucking contract. They're like, hire me, bitch. So they'll do it as a contract because then, you know, it's like the incentive to like get you into America, right? Oh, look at this contract and this visa. And then when when his dad hit a certain age, they no longer renewed his contract. It was like a way to get around the whole, like, you know, ageism thing. Yeah, it's fucked up. Fucked up, man. You sound like you do a good job. Thanks, Dulogs. I appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you. Truckers are independent contractors, 1099. Yeah, there is a company who does full-time truck work. Is it Walmart? I remember reading about it because, like, there were a bunch of truck jobs available, and I think it was Walmart that did like the full-time and stuff. They almost need to work like pilots, I think, but it's just not a prestigious, like, in society's eyes, it's not a prestigious industry, and so I don't think they get treated as well as pilots, even though they probably have to work harder than pilots because pilots get to autopilot a lot. Playing catch up. Oh geez, I hope that you're able to get what's owed to you, because that's insane. I hope Anon has a better idea of what to do. I hope so too, and I hope the conversations that kind of spiderwebbed out of their question help them feel not so alone. You like management but disliked it at times. You have to make decisions. Yeah, for sure, for sure. It's a double-edged sword, and I'm sure there are things that I would really struggle with, like having to reprimand people, having to give people like warnings or performance evaluations that aren't stellar, having to give like the hard advice, or heaven forbid having to fire or lay off someone. Like those would be very difficult for me to do, but I think doing those would be really good for me. Like obviously I hope I never have to like fire or lay someone off, but I'm just saying, like being in that position of having to be a supervisor to people or a manager of people, I think would really grow a lot of skills that I have simmering, and like I use them with myself in my life, and I have found success in those things, but being able to like share those with people under me would be, you know, would be good. I don't know, I feel like it would grow my skills a lot. Z-Ruck-B 123, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Ghost Gang. Yeah, laying someone off sounds really hard. Too bad I hated my old job's manager, so I didn't give a shit, and she also didn't seem to care at all. So Walmart trucker, yeah, I've heard Walmart truckers get paid super well. I mean, even if it's hard to get in, I feel like if you have experience, it's worth applying to every like 6 months or so, a couple times a year. I would just apply, because I've heard Walmart truckers have great benefits. Okay, OP, I hope we helped you. I hope you feel less alone. I hope you know it's okay to be lost and to just sometimes let life take you where it wants to take you. You'll find your way, and you'll find the people to go there with you. So trust in that. Things will get better. Okay. Let's see. This one. Let's see. What's this question? I feel like I should get water. Did the ad finish already? Fuck, the ad finished. I forgot to make tea. I was gonna make tea with honey because I knew it'd be yapping a lot. Organize my documents and receipts. I know there's a lot of really great apps to help you organize receipts. I meant to download one to use this year for taxes for Twitch, and I forgot. But there's a lot of like apps that you can like take a picture of your receipt, and it'll like upload it and store it and just help you keep track of everything. I totally recommend doing something like that. Or even if you like take a picture and then have an album in your phone. There's a lot of great programs that can help you with that. So I would start there for sure. And then honestly, potentially, especially being a 1099, I would probably hire an accountant to do your taxes for you. They might be decently easy because you're a 1099, but an accountant is probably going to be able to find more ways for you to save money, like more things for you to write off, you know. Just trying to find if you need help, I'm happy to help. My accountant, yeah, I mean that's what they're for, right? But I think it's fair to say Dual Logs is in a slightly different you're in a different tax bracket, you're in a different position than Frank or me, right? It is what it is. Yeah, accountant praise. Okay. The next submission. How do you understand people's emotions? I'm not good at connecting with people. I'm shy and don't understand emotions people have towards me. A girl told me she loved me, but I can't understand what they loved about me. How do you know what you're feeling is love or not? Is love lateral, a single emotion, or a group of them? How do you know the intent behind one's emotions? This is a loaded fucking question. This is a very loaded question. Jesus. So yeah, love is complicated. And there's an argument, there are different types of love too. Like, you know, like if I have a partner, I love that partner, but if I have a friend, like I love that friend, and they're both love. It's just different types of love. To me, they're equal strength because I love very deeply. That's not true for everybody. Like, your love might be different, but like the people that are close to me in my life that I love, to me, they're all at the same level. It's just different types of love. I wrote the question. Oh, that's okay, Sand. You didn't have to reveal yourself. I like these kinds of complicated questions. We can have a lot of good discussion about it, you know? There's a lot of different perspectives about love and really in emotion, but love is one that's more fun for people to talk about, I guess. People have different attachment styles for love. Absolutely, it can vary. It's also the last question about how do you know the intent behind someone's emotions. I think it's fair to say that you'll never know, in the sense of like, if you have someone that you're close with that you've known for a long time, you can quote know the intent behind one's emotions, but it's still kind of assumption based on your experience and knowledge with that person. Unless they explicitly tell you their intention behind how they're feeling, you won't actually know. And even if they tell you, they could be lying. So it's like, at some point you just have to trust the emotion or trust the intent that they're telling you. And that's where like you have to decide, oh, do I want to trust this person and their emotion and go with it and trust that they're being truthful and have good intentions? Or do I not want to and ignore a potential opportunity for a partner or a relationship or something, right? Like, the only this sounds fucked up, but like the only person you can truly trust is yourself until you find a partner that like this is hard to verbalize. So if you're in a partnership with someone, if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, a wife, a husband, whatever, in my opinion, and this is my opinion about the right way to go about that, you know, as a single unmarried person, this is my opinion. But if you're in that partnership with someone, you should be able to trust the intent behind their emotions wholeheartedly and not second guess them. Like, that's what it should be. Obviously, people aren't perfect and some people decide to mislead their partner, but the goal of a relationship is that you never have to second guess their intention or how they feel about you or their emotions, right? You should always be able to trust them and know that they love you and have your heart and want to protect you and have your back, period. Again, that's my opinion. You might feel differently, but that's what I think about that. As far as understanding people's emotions and connecting with people, that's a little trickier of a question. So I think most people learn how to understand other people's emotions and how to connect with people through their childhood. That's kind of the point of childhood. Like, we learn a lot as kids how to socialize and like reactions to emotions. And if I hit my friend and they cry and they're upset, like, now I have the understanding where like, oh, if I do this thing, they don't like it, like, then they don't want to be my friend anymore. Like, you have a lot of these moments of emotional intelligence growth as you grow up. That being said, not everyone experiences the same opportunity. Not everyone experiences the same opportunity to learn these lessons. Not everyone is able to learn them. You know, there are mental illnesses, there are, you know, there is the autism spectrum. There are different things that can make you less capable of understanding emotions. And if you think that might be the case with you, or if you know that's the case with you, you should take that into consideration or potentially ask a doctor about it, because there are things like biologically that could be making it difficult for you to understand people's emotions and understand how to correctly socialize. You can still have healthy relationships. I know someone who is on the spectrum and has a partner for a couple years, and they're in a great and healthy relationship. You just have to find the right person, and you have to, you know, investigate and learn things about yourself so that you can be in a healthy partnership and love someone and be loved by someone. Sometimes you can't understand something until you experience it. That's also true too. So there are a lot of factors to understanding people's emotions. If you feel like, you know, there's nothing preventing you from it, maybe you were just shy, you didn't socialize much, you didn't have opportunities to socialize, maybe you've moved to a different country or whatever. I mean, I'm always going to stress in these questions that therapy works wonders. Therapy is great. It can take time to find a good doctor that you connect with, but therapy, it is helpful for everyone. I don't care how mentally healthy you think you are. Therapy is great. Honestly, if a girl says that they love you, if this girl told you she loves you, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with asking her why. And like, maybe it's kind of a weird question, and maybe you can phrase it in a way that doesn't sound so abrasive, but like, if it's someone that you hang out with a lot, or someone that knows you pretty well, or someone that's been around you in your life for a while, I mean, it's pretty normal to get crushes on people in your life. You might not even like really hang out with them or talk to them much, but you see how they interact, you see the kinds of things they do, and you like them, especially as you're younger. When you're younger, like, that kind of thing happens, right? You get a crush on someone, you're like, hey, can you be, I love you, you want to be my girlfriend or whatever, like that kind of thing is totally normal. But I don't think there's anything wrong with saying like, hey, you told me you loved me, and I wanted to know why, like, what is it about me that you loved, and see what their answer is. I think that the way they respond to that question would be really telling for you, because they should have an answer. If they're honest, like if they're actually in love with you and they're saying something honestly, then they should have an answer for you. Or they might be a little embarrassed to tell you, but I think if you approach the question in kindness and say, hey, I just wanted to know what it was that you loved about me. I was thinking about it, and I'm just not, I'm surprised. Like, I want to know. Like, if you approach it in that way and in curiosity and trying to understand, like, yeah, they might be embarrassed about it, but like, ask them to, she said, because it's you, so I don't get it. I would ask her again, ask her to be more specific, like, tell me what it is, like, whatever. I mean, if you don't love this person, which it doesn't sound like you do, if you're surprised by this, oh, they love me, like, that's surprising. Why do they love me? How do you know if you love someone or not? Like, that's definitely a complicated ask, but there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I don't feel that same way about you, but I'm willing to spend more time with you and see if I could find a romantic connection, or like, let's hang out, just the two of us. Let's like go get coffee or something, and just see how things are. Like, I think that's totally respectful. Like, give yourself an opportunity to get to know this person. Give them an opportunity to get to know you, and you never know what can happen. Like, love isn't always perfect. It doesn't always happen together, you know? Like, it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes you might love someone first and then they might love you. Sometimes you fall in love together. Like, there's no rules to love. Oh, sorry, Yuzu. I'm sorry, baby. Are you okay? I'm sorry, baby. She was under my chair and I kicked her. Let's see. As for knowing if you love someone, I feel like that's the hardest question of the whole bit. I would love to know what other people in chat think that have been in relationships, that are in relationships. Like, how did you know you were in love? Because I feel like that's different for everyone. Love is very personal, and it's not always going to look the same. It's not always something that you can put your finger on, you know? You can't always define it. But in general, it's pretty safe to say that you love someone if you think about them a lot, if you want to spend time with them all the time, if you're happier around them, if you always want to know what they're doing, if you feel differently in a good way when you're with them. Like, it's hard to say, yeah, in the same way, if you know you're afraid or happy or sad, like, it's something you feel. It's just hard because if you haven't been in love and you haven't felt it, you're like, how do I know? And they always say, when you know, but like, you might get nervous, you might blush a lot, you might be kind of scared or anxious. You might be a bit obsessive, like you always want to spend time with them, talk to them. You know, I sometimes feel that way for people, but I have zero romantic interest. It doesn't have to be romantic. Like I said earlier, there are different kinds of love. Like, and this is how I view love. This isn't true for everyone. Not everyone's going to agree with me. And that's perfectly fine. But for me, I have different kinds of love. I have like romantic love. I have friend love. I have family love, like whatever. To me, they're all equal levels of love. Like, it's a similar strength of love. It's just a different kind of love. Like, I'm not gonna be all like blushy and I don't know, horny around Leah, my friend that I love, but I will get like excited and want to know what she's doing and like be happier when I'm with her and things like that. It's a different kind of love, right? Than a romantic love. Like, yeah, no, I totally get that. You hyperfixate on a new friend like once or twice a year? Yeah, I see that in you. I've seen you talking about that and like your posts and stuff. I think that's pretty like normal. I mean, we all go through well, I shouldn't say that. It's not uncommon to go through phases of life where you have friends you're closer to. It doesn't mean you don't care about your other friends or you're not interested in them or whatever. It's just like, especially a new friendship or when a bond is building, that time of a bond building is kind of exciting for people. It's kind of like the honeymoon phase in a romantic relationship, I think. That initial, like, getting to know someone, becoming really good friends, like learning about them, and it's a fun time in a relationship of any kind. So it hits me like a truck. I only realize it long after the fact. See, it's difficult. It's a difficult question, and it's just something that you have to, like, I don't know, you just have to feel, and you just have to trust yourself that you're feeling it and kind of explore it. Yeah. Nice underwear. You can't see my underwear, nerd. Do you agree with the quote, you have to love yourself before you can love someone else? Yes and no. Yes and no. So yes, because, okay, maybe the no is easier. So I say no because I think you are fully capable of loving someone and having feelings of love for people, even if you hate yourself. You can still love and cherish people. On the other side of that, yes, because I don't think you can ever, you can't fully love someone in the way that they deserve if you don't love yourself. So for example, if I think I'm a worthless piece of shit and I have a friend that I love who is my friend, so they love me too, and I'm talking bad, I'm like, wow, I'm so shitty, I'm such a dumbass, I did this thing and I'm a horrible person. Like, my friend doesn't want me talking about myself like that. My friend is like, oh, well, if you think this shitty about yourself, but I love you, then what do you actually think about what I care about? Like, what do you think about my taste and my opinion, right? Like, it creates this weird, like, illogical mental circle. And it's hard to, I don't know, treat love correctly and have healthy relationships with people if you don't have some sort of love for yourself. I'm not saying you have to love every part of yourself. I'm not saying you have to think you're perfect. I'm not saying that there can't be parts of yourself you don't like, but you have to have love for the fact that you exist and the things that you can do in order to be in a good relationship and a relationship that's gonna last. Because if you don't care about yourself, that's gonna bleed over into, you know, the way you treat yourself and stuff, and like your partner and your friends are gonna have certain expectations for you to take care of yourself, right? And care about yourself and treat yourself better and those kinds of things. Does that make sense? I'm talking about the underwear on your head, nerd. I don't have underwear on my head. Last I checked, underwear isn't just a triangle on a headband, but you know, I could be wrong. I don't know what kind of underwear you like to wear, but I prefer underwear that, you know, functions. You don't have to love yourself before you can love someone else, but before you can give someone the love they need, you should love yourself so that you want to, so that you're the you want to share with another person. Yeah. Self-acceptance is important. How would you express love to someone else? That's where the love languages comes in handy. The 5 love languages. So there's this awesome thing called the love language. I think you can take the test for free. But I recommend taking this test. And at the end, it's gonna tell you of the 5 different love languages, what you care about the most. And I think it's also fair to look at that and decide how you like to express your love. So what are they? It's physical touch, gifts, acts of service, what are the other ones? Why can't I remember? Acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, words of affirmation, and physical touch are like the 5 main categories of ways that we feel love. And we can feel like we're all different. So some people might really feel love when they get a gift, and someone else might think it's nice, but they're not really gonna feel loved or special. So this test is supposed to help you figure out how you feel love. But I think it's also important to look at that and try to think about how you give love, right? Justin Yomoma Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Ghost King. So I recommend taking that test. I don't know, thinking about when you get the answer, think about how you also like to give love. How do you like to show people you care about them? Do you like to give people gifts? Do you like to do things for them? Do you like to constantly tell them, hey, I care about you. You're doing amazing. You know, I love you. Do you like to just spend time with them? Do you like to hug on people and like be physically close to them? Like, think about the ways that you like to give love, but then also take the test, so it kind of helps you figure out the ways you like to receive love. So also, I think it's fair that these answers change over time. So every couple years, maybe retake it and see if you've changed a little bit, you know? You wear standard boxers? Actually, most of the time, I don't wear underwear. Spoiler, surprise. Not often. Quality time, you're at touch and quality time. You like giving gifts and doing things. I used to not care about gifts at all. And then I was in a relationship where I didn't get gifts that often. And now, gifts mean more to me than they used to, which I think is really, it's interesting to think about. My love language is ancient Sumerian. What does that mean? That means you're a nerd, I think. Gift shopping is hard. Okay, so this is the thing I think about gift shopping. So gift shopping, when you have something very intentional to buy for, is difficult because there's pressure for a time, right? Like if it's someone's birthday coming up, you're like, oh, I need to get them something. You have pressure of this time and this event, so it makes it harder to find something for them. But if you're just out like shopping or window shopping or scrolling online, like you probably see a ton of shit that is like, oh, I think, you know, this friend would really like it. I think Maple would really like this thing, or this thing reminds me of Maple. I should get it for her. So when I hit those moments where I'm like, oh, this reminds me of that person, like I think they'd like it, I should get it for them, I try to buy it, and just I have a place where I keep all future presents. It's just, I also forget that they're there sometimes. Like I've had a sticker for Leah for 2 years in my drawer because I keep forgetting that it exists. So, but I say it's a lot easier to like unintentionally buy a gift and just, you know, try to hold on to it for a moment. Or honestly, like nowadays people have Steam wish lists and Thrones and other ways. Like you can see what things people want, and even if it's like, oh, I didn't think of the gift myself, like I think most people who like gifts, even if you just buy me something off of that list, it's like, oh my god, thank you so much. But going outside to window shop, I mean, you can window shop online. You don't have to go outside. You can scroll Amazon. You can look through Throne. You can go to websites of stores. You can, I don't know. Oh my god, speaking of websites of stores, I wonder when I want to know when my shipment's coming. Hold on. I'm browsing while it's in my mind. It sucks when you buy someone a gift and then they buy that thing for themselves before you can give it. That's so true. That is so true. I don't have a Leah sticker. It was a sticker of something else that I bought for her. And I just forget every time I see her to give it to her. Huh. Wow, this has been in transit for so many days. I want it now. I thought it was in transit more days than it has been in transit. Oh well. One day, I just don't know where to put them. On your water bottle. You don't have a You don't have an emotional support water bottle? You'd have to put the cards away first. Give them a kotatsu? Dude, I want a kotatsu. I want to have a house. I want to have a place big enough so that I can have a kotatsu. Yes, I live in the south, and it's only cold enough to use a kotatsu for like 3 months of the year, maybe. But I fucking want one. Break something they own and buy them a replacement. I don't recommend that. You could instead buy one of Leah's playmats available now. What is this? What is this self-promo? I mentioned Leah, not her merch. I'm kidding. I have no merch, so it's fine. I have no merch, so I have no dog in the fight. I'm broke because I'm moving, so I can't buy anything of hers right now. December through February? Hell yeah, I would. Dude, I would totally just do streams from the kotatsu. Oh man, sitting at the kotatsu and doing VTuber themed nails. I'm into it. I'm into it. First contract workers, now merch shoutouts. I know. He comes into my chat after 6 months. That's kidding. I'm pretty sure I've seen you before 6 months, but making merch is tough. Now I like designing it. I like brainstorming and thinking about it. There's just no point in me making merch. Well, I think one of the subathon goals was to open a merch shop, but we did not hit that. I have one idea. Well, I mean, stickers are an easy one. Because everyone likes a good sticker, you know? So stickers for sure was one thing I was gonna have, like, just available whenever, but there are other things I think that are fun. Okay, you know, if you play card games a lot, play mats or desk mats are a great thing. It's like you want to tie in stuff, like tie into something. Like maybe if you're really into keyboards, or you know, you play games, like you can make keycaps, right? And have like a keycap set that's themed for someone, like things like that. Like I love that people have taken merch into a different direction. It's not all just like t-shirts and stickers. Although stickers are awesome. Everyone loves stickers. Stickers are so easy. Everyone loves stickers. But it's not like the only thing, you know? You can do phone cases. You can do like pop sockets and like grippers and stuff for your phone. Like you can do keycap sets. You can do you could do like a perfume. There's just like some things require a lot more effort and time, and it's gonna be more costly, and you know, things like that. I say think like what was her name? Bella? No. Think like the girl that sold Gamer Girl bathwater, okay? The world's your oyster. Everyone will buy something. It's just finding the right market, finding what fits like your community, right? Thank you for advice. I hope it helped, San. Thanks for your submission. 99% of merch is still... Yeah, it is. I think it would be fun. It would be super fun to do blind box merch. And like, okay, if you have a group, like, okay, for anyone that doesn't know, we're talking about Glitch Stars specifically, duologs.org, but like, for example, if you have a group like that, it's like a blind box for that whole group, right? Or you have a blind box themed like a particular VTuber, right? And you have like different things in it that you could get. Like maybe there's like a sticker pack, maybe there's a keychain, maybe there's little things, and then there's like the secret prize, like the like a little figure or an acrylic stand or something. Like, obviously I'm just saying really basic stuff, but like blind boxes, dude, people are so into blind boxes right now. People love to gamba, and I think that it's like such a fun idea to do like blind boxes, either for like a whole group or for like one particular person with different items. Hey Hunt, I'm good. How are you? Yeah, lucky boxes, blind boxes. Yes, Belle Delphine is the girl I was thinking of. Thank you. If mine works. Oh, that's true. That was kind of what I remember you saying something about that. Actually, you did, right? You tweeted something about that, and I was like, oh, that's funny. Dulux has the same idea I had. I just don't have the resources to make it a reality. Special rare standee, yeah, for sure. Like there's a lot of ways that could go, but blind boxes right now are like, I feel like starting to boom. Like people are fucking obsessed with blind boxes right now. So I feel like it's a great thing to do. Yeah, oh yeah, there's a ton. Merch is a lot of work, but it's fun to like think of different ideas for it. Okay, I need to get water, unfortunately. I mean, not unfortunately, I love water, but I need to get water. And then we can talk about another there's been two requests. We can talk about these two more. Yeah, from a business standpoint, it's a lot. What are you cooking? Who, me? Oh god, oh shit, that scared me. Holy fuck. Oh god, my why is the throne noise so scary? Oh god, my heart's pounding right now. It's my heart rate's over 100 BPM. Oh, thank you so much for the mug. Put stickers on it. Thank you. I will. I appreciate that. Thank you. It's so the backstory about this thing on my throne, it's a sakura, a cherry blossom mug, like a tumbler. So when I went, okay, so I have been obsessed with Japan my whole life. I've been multiple times. I lived there multiple times. Like it's the second home to me. I'm probably my happiest self when I'm in Japan. When I moved back to the States after teaching English there, I had a really hard time finding jobs that would pay me anything. I mean, I had a degree, I worked abroad for a year, and my first job in America, I was making $12 an hour. It was hard. And so because of that, I was never able to travel back to Japan. So finally, I had a job where I was making enough income to save money, invest in hobbies and things like that. And so I had planned a trip in 2020 to return to Japan. We were supposed to go March of 2020. So you guys can assume what happened there. I had to cancel the trip literally 2 days before. I mean, it broke my heart because now it's been a very long time since I've been to Japan. And I've been 5 times total. So I went freshman year of high school, the summer before junior year, and then the summer after senior year. And then I studied abroad for 6 months in college. And then after college, I lived in Japan in Kobe and worked for a year. So I've spent a lot of my life in Japan, and I'm not saying the country's perfect. Trust me, I know it's not, nowhere is, but it's some place that is very near and dear to my heart. It's my favorite place in the world. So after finally being able to return after so long, and I was gonna take my mom and my sister who've never traveled out of the country, finally being able to go back and just having it ripped out of your hands. Like, I know COVID sucked and 2020 was horrible for a lot of people, and it could have been way worse for me, and I'm very blessed that, you know, I didn't know anyone that died or lost their job to the vid, but that was so soul crushing. And so when that happened, I actually went online on eBay and found Starbucks Japan does different seasonal lines, and I found a cherry blossom 2020 tumbler that I bought and paid too much for, but had someone in Japan on eBay ship it to me. And so it was like I would use that mug every morning for my coffee, but it finally got super worn out, and the lid, because it's plastic, started growing mold on it that I couldn't clean off anymore. So I decided I had to get rid of it. So I put this mug on my wish list because I wanted it to replace the other one, because I still haven't been able to go. And it sounds really silly, and I know I'm getting a little bit emotional about it, but yeah, that's the story of why that mug is there. So thank you very much for getting me that mug. I'm very excited to get it and have a new daily coffee mug to look at every morning when I drink my coffee, and continue to work my way so that I can get back to that country and spend a vacation. So yeah, my 10-year high school reunion was supposed to be in the summer of 2020. Got canceled for yeah, I got canceled for no reason. That's crazy. I wonder why. The border closed the day. Yeah, I think the border closed 2 days before I was supposed to go. And it's funny actually, because my flight was through Canada, so that's actually what closed before the border to Japan closed, is the Canadian, because I was flying Air Canada, and that's a shit show of a story I could tell you guys about. Holy, oh my lord, I will never fly Air Canada because of that. Ever. I'm getting water, chat. Hold on. Okay. We're back, baby. I also got a lychee fruit beer. I figured, why not? We're yapping longer than I thought we would, to be honest. Okay. I also think I need to take a quick pause. Because someone texted me about something tomorrow. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm hosting just a little... Hi, Smiling Devil, welcome in. New, and I see it's about advice, what's going on. So I have a little, roughly once a month, like podcast talk show situation called Advice from Beyond the Grave, because I'm a ghost, so haha. Where I give advice. It's totally anonymous. People submit at the link !advice. We'll get you the link. And you can submit something there. It's totally anonymous. And basically I review the submission. I try to do some research about it if I can, gather thoughts, and try to give you advice from the perspective of the big sister that you didn't know you needed. So somewhere in between honest and lovingly. It's like motherly, but no, it's not like motherly. I don't want to compare it to that, but it's like maturely, like maybe I'll smack you on the ass a little bit, but I'll kiss you on the cheek too, you know? It's like that, right? 7 hours. Well, we co-worked this morning. We co-worked earlier, and we just started Advice from Beyond the Grave like 2.5 hours ago, maybe. No, you can always submit. If we don't get to something today, then it'll still be there for me to address next time. So you can always submit something. Yeah, you don't have to use the Ouija board to talk to the dead. I'm right here all the time. At least 3 days a week. Usually 4 or 5. Okay. Let's see. It's never too late. It doesn't go away just because, like, I have the submissions. It's a Google Doc, so the submissions are always there. Yeah. Okay. The next person asked, or said, I should say, I always had a fear of speaking in loud settings. Okay. I always had a fear of speaking in loud settings because my voice is so soft. What's a good way to make your voice stronger so I can have more confidence in loud settings? That's a good question, actually. It's actually better because then Riri can compose her thoughts beforehand. Yeah, true. I prefer when the submissions come before. So I try to tweet and Discord like a week before to ask for submissions. I'll do better about just occasionally, like maybe I'll set up a bot to like stream elements to occasionally say like, oh, we'll submit, you know, advice requests here for the next show or whatever to remind people. Because I read questions, I gather my thoughts, I'll try to do research. Like this is a good example of when I could have researched like actual ways to strengthen your voice and kind of present everything to chat. But I don't mind spitballing. It's just less organized, right? And I can't do research. It's only what I know. But sometimes chat has good ideas. Sometimes you guys have good points. You know, I'll credit where credit is due. And I would still rather talk about submissions that you guys have more than, you know, things that I've pulled up. Because I always have like backup advice questions from forums and Reddit and stuff. But okay, so fear of speaking in loud settings because your voice is soft. You can have a soft voice, but you can still project it. I would definitely recommend Googling, just seeing what you can find in regards to maybe like vocal exercises, or look for actual physical things that you can do to strengthen your voice. If you feel like you talk like this and you can't talk any louder, like even if you try, you can't raise your voice if you try. Like, I'm really trying to talk loud and I can't. Like, I'm genuinely not making fun of you. I'm just trying to make a point. Like, if you talk at that level and you feel like you can't project your voice louder, you might need to like physically strengthen your voice, right? Like your voice box or whatever. So it might be worth like actually looking into, like Googling to see if there's a physical way to strengthen your voice and make yourself louder. Oh, sorry. You might need to do like vocal exercises in the same way that singers will have vocal exercises before they sing. Maybe you'll need to do vocal exercises to help strengthen your speech. But if you don't think it's physical, if you're capable of yelling and projecting your voice if you need to, then you just need to pinpoint why you're not confident, where the fear of speaking loudly comes from. I was trying to snag. I was trying to snag her. Oh, I know. Her food. Okay, so I would say you need to pinpoint what it is, like where's the origin of the fear of speaking loudly? Where does that fear originate? I would try to pinpoint that. Where does this lack of confidence and this fear to speak loudly or to speak stronger in a louder setting? Like where does this originate? Because that's what you need to target. You should feel confident to speak loudly and be heard. You should feel confident to be heard. And you telling me that you're scared to speak loudly, you're not confident to speak loudly, you're not confident to like talk in these loud settings and project your voice. To me, that's telling me that there's something that is preventing you from that. Like, why are you scared of speaking in these settings? Why are you scared of being heard? Who like, what made you not want to be heard? Like, you know, maybe you were raised in a household that was like, you know, the child is seen, not heard. Maybe you were always like glossed over, and so you just grew accustomed to not giving your opinion or speaking. Like, maybe people used to make fun of your voice, so you just stopped talking, and now you have like a fear of speaking your mind and speaking up. Like, there's a lot of reasons that you could feel that way. It's just pinpointing why and kind of approaching the problem from there, right? You didn't talk a lot when you were little, even in public. I have a friend like that, actually. She also, you guys don't have to out yourselves if you don't want to. I hope you know the purpose is to be anonymous, so don't feel like you have to answer me or out yourself, like if you don't want to. It's totally okay. I have a friend actually who, when she was in elementary school, became mute until she was like in college, basically. And so she does, I would say she has a little bit of a softer voice. And I remember her talking to me about sometimes having some trouble like speaking up, but she taught English in Japan with me for many years. And, like, then she's done a lot of incredible things. So don't let it stop you from doing what you want. Maybe just, yeah, try practicing. I think singing loudly, like on a commute or like a radio or something, I think that could be helpful. Talking to yourself out loud, like forcing yourself to kind of narrate your own life, could be helpful. Like, get yourself used to talking. Maybe read a book out loud, or watch like a podcast or a streamer or something, and whatever they say, like respond to them, talk to them. I know they can't hear you, but they don't know that you're doing that either. Like, just use it as a way for you to practice communication and actually projecting your voice. Because the more you do it, the more you'll be comfortable hearing yourself talk, and the less you'll question yourself when you go to talk, right? Like, there is exposure therapy is a thing. It's done not very nicely in a lot of ways, but but it is a thing. How many of you spoke out loud to me? I hope all of you. If you loved me, you would be talking to me right now. If you cared about me, you would be talking to me right now. Anyway. Yeah, I think practicing speaking, you know, telling yourself to speak would be a great place to start. Hi, Boba Fish, welcome in. Well, I think the pre-roll is about to start, actually. I'm so sorry, guys. But yeah, speaking more, even just to yourself, I think would be a big help. And beyond that, I think that you should come to an understanding and acknowledge that everyone deserves to be heard. Your thoughts and opinions and what you want to say and your ideas are just as valid as anybody else's, and you deserve to have a voice, and you deserve for people to hear what you're saying and listen to your thoughts. You know, try to really remember that you deserve to be heard, and just practice talking, and hopefully those things will help. I'm not sure what else I could offer up as far as advice to that. But you absolutely deserve to be heard. And, you know, if you're more comfortable, like, talking in chats like this where you type it out, like, that's totally fine. Honestly, I'm more comfortable that way a lot of the time too. At work, I always try to chat message people. I never want to call them. For many reasons, but like, that's okay. But if you're trying to get better about it, and if you actively want to work on it, every time you send a message in someone's chat, say it out loud too. Like, really, really get yourself used to talking, just the act of talking. You probably will need to, like, strengthen your voice, because if you're not used to talking a lot and then you start talking a lot, like, your throat might get kind of sore. So make sure to stay hydrated, drink a lot of water. Tea is a great natural lubricant for your throat, so you can drink like hot lemon water and honey, or tea and honey, and that'll help keep your throat from being too dry. But make sure to drink plenty of water and just practice and work at it, and you'll get better in no time. I hated team calls. You don't have to do them anymore. I have to do them all the time. The bane of my existence. The bane of my existence. But I hope that helps, Onigiri. I hope that helped you out a little bit. My office culture is we get up and walk to the other person's desk instead of phone calls. I mean, that also works. But I think I work remote 3 days a week, so I don't want to start having to go to people's desks. Also, I have like we're not in one building, we're in 2 buildings that are directly next to each other. So, and then we also have multiple offices around the US, so a lot of the people that I need to talk to on a daily basis are not actually physically there, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess. And then when I work from home, nobody's here, so I like messages, but random Teams calls sound is yeah, dude, PTSD. This is so bad, but a lot of the time I will hear call coming and I will intentionally miss it so that I can prepare myself mentally and then call them back a few minutes after. Oh, sorry, I was getting water and I missed your call. Not always. Like, there are some people who call and I'll always answer. And if I've done it a lot, I'm like, oh, I probably need to pick up the phone. But if I get a random call, like a no preface DM, sometimes 70% of the time I'll let it ring and then I'll emotionally prepare myself and then I'll call back a few minutes later. My trauma. Okay. The last one I got today, and then I probably need to eat dinner. It is 9 o'clock. Okay. I wrote out a depressing problem, but I realized I don't want to confront it yet, and it might not be stream appropriate. So whoever submitted this, I will say, I'm saying nothing's off limits. It's totally anonymous. Share what you want. Obviously, the more details, the more I have to go off of. But if there's something that I feel like isn't stream appropriate, I will like dumb it down or not include certain details. So if it's something you want to confront or you want advice on or you want to see people talk about it, feel free to still submit it. I don't think we'll go over it today, but we'll go over it next month or the next time I do this. So probably a couple weeks from now, we'll do our next one. Yeah. So feel free if you want to, only if you want to. But so they said, so instead, I will ask for more fun advice. Do you have any tips on how to get better at bowling? I just started and want to score above 150. I think that that's admirable. You working on another problem, aka not being very good at bowling, is showing drive and determination and desire to do better. And those things are important. So patch, 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 patch to you. Also to the previous Oni girly, like patch, 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 patch. Like wanting to know better and do better and grow yourself are all very admirable. So I'm very proud of all of you for wanting to do these things and asking for opinions and advice on how you can do them. Okay. That being said, any skill, the best way, like, I shouldn't say the best way because this actually isn't true, but maybe the most important way, or you have to do the skill. It doesn't matter if you do all these other things I'm about to suggest, but if you're not actually doing the thing that you're trying to improve, you won't actually improve. So the first thing that's super important to get better at bowling is to just go and bowl. Like, I would say as often as you can. See if your local bowling alley has some kind of like membership, or if they have special deals on certain days so you can get in cheaper, and just like go as often as you can. Carve out, you know, the more often you go, the faster you'll improve and become more comfortable with it. But at least once or twice a week, carve out time and go and bowl. That's step number one, is you need to actually do the skill as much as possible. So in this case, bowl. You need to go and bowl as much as possible. Step number two, while you are bowling more and getting used to bowling more, getting more comfortable handling the ball, all of those things, look for either coaching. So if you have the means to get like a private bowling coach, I'm sure those exist. Or even like bowling classes or bowling lessons, I'm sure those exist. If you have the means for that, awesome. Find like a personal coach, whether it's a class or private or whatever. If you don't, look for YouTube videos, look for TikTok clips, look on Twitter, scour the internet for bowling advice, especially from coaches and pro players. There might also be like a bowling Reddit that could be a great resource. But look for those tips and look specifically from, you know, high tier players. I'm talking like pro bowlers or coaches. And don't just take advice from anyone, even if they're good. I would say specifically pro players or coaches, but find people you want to trust their advice and start working on basics. Like, start with, you know, your form. right? Bowling is a sport. It's a physical activity. You have to throw the ball, and you are gonna throw a certain way. You're gonna angle your body a certain way. Like, look into, you know, the form, look into different grips of the ball, look into strategy. I know there's strategy like to hit certain pins, to hit other pins. Start looking into the different ways that you can try to actively improve your form and how you throw the ball. Maybe do some research into like the weights of balls versus the speed that you throw it, and see what like pros or coaches recommend, like for new players. Like, play around with the different weights of the balls, play around with the speed that you throw the ball, like see what feels comfortable for you and what makes you feel powerful. See if, depending on the situation, you might want a different weight and you might want to throw it at a different speed depending on, you know, what pins you're trying to hit and things like that. So I say first, just start playing. Get used to playing more, and devoting that time. And then as you play more and do research, then start taking some of that time into like practicing and improving your form and your actual skill. So obviously the more you play, the more skills you'll get. But at the same time, if you have guidance for improvement, you're going to improve even faster. Let's see, how else could you improve bowling? I think also potentially, like when you feel more comfortable with it, putting yourself in a competitive like mindset. So like a local tournament or a league or something that's friendly for new players, things like that, that can really get you excited about it. It lets you have like a very specific point in time with a score that you can compare to down the road for more progress, so you can see what kind of progress you've made. And it's just a different mindset. Sometimes things are more fun for people when you're doing it competitively, and so it could be really rewarding for you to play while getting to like kind of ignite that fire, you know? Buy better equipment, house balls can't hook. Yeah, I would say that that's part of the research, right? So I think first step, like I said, is playing more, getting comfortable playing, like more comfortable with the ball and how you throw and stuff like that. Step 2 would be researching technique and how you should be throwing the ball, how you should be positioning your body, what kinds of things to aim for, and that kind of thing, like gain knowledge about the sport. And then after you gain knowledge and you're comfortable and you know what you like, then invest in better equipment. I think a lot of people prioritize equipment as the second step, because they think, oh, if I have better equipment, like that's what's holding me back, because they're lazy and they don't want to put in the effort to understanding the game and the skill set and all of that. So I think that you need to invest in equipment after.
Like,
hi Matt, thank you for the raid. Thank you for the raid. If you guys do not know me, I'm UDaddy. You can call me Riri. I'm a variety screamer, play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, addicted to Valorant, and right now we're doing episode 5 of my talk show / podcast, Advice from Beyond the Grave. We're kind of coming in towards the end, but I will, on the note about the question about a playlist, I thought I had a playlist on my YouTube for Advice from Beyond the Grave, but now I'm not sure. This stream will be uploaded as a VOD, and I'll create that playlist if it's not there. I've been really bad about importing VODs over to YouTube. I'm trying to be better, and especially about this one, because I want to start editing these VODs down into like an actual YouTube video that's like 10 to 20 minutes long, of just like the actual advice segment, so it reads more like a podcast. But this one I will for sure go into and export to YouTube, and if they aren't in a playlist on YouTube, there should be some on YouTube, but I I wasn't the best at exporting things to YouTube. I'm really sorry. I know I have 1 or 2 of them recorded as well that I should probably just upload. So Matt, thank you so much for the resub for 27 months. Okay, DD, welcome back home. I hope your stream was good. How was Yu-Gi-Oh? Shorts covers Undertale as far as a playlist. Okay, then yeah, I need to make a playlist for that. But there might be advice VODs on there. If not, this one for sure will be, and I know for sure I have one to upload. I shouldn't say that. I should have one to upload. Okay. Yes, so step 1, play more, do more bowling, become comfortable bowling, going to the alley, throwing the ball, all of that. Step 2, look into technique, look for coaches and pro players, look at how they tell you to bowl, positions to be in, how to aim, things like that. Try out different weights and different speeds and different styles of holding the ball and all of that. Step 3 would then be to invest in equipment. Maybe buy your own shoes, maybe buy your own ball, things like that. The equipment should really come after you've played a lot and become really comfortable. Except for, like, I guess maybe shoes wouldn't be so bad. I don't know much about bowling. So maybe you should hold off on shoes. But I would think you could probably find like a decent, not super expensive pair of bowling shoes to buy if you're going to be going that much. So you don't have to constantly rent shoes. Just know that you might end up wanting to spend more money on a different pair down the road when you know more about the sport and see like what you prefer, you know? I hate using shoes. You have to use shoes, no? You're playing Fluffles. I still wanna learn Fluffles. Oh, you hate using alley shoes? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think like you could probably get away with buying shoes earlier, but I would say hold off on a ball or any other accessories. You know? Yeah. Yeah. You can save money buying used. Also true, yeah. A lot of people will sell used. And you can like get a antiseptic like spray. Like I mean, you can wash shoes, but you can get like a spray to disinfect them, and you wear socks in them anyway, so yeah. Not able to match current decks as much. Yeah, that's understandable. I just think Fluffles are cute. Maybe there will be an event that they're good in, you know? Okay. I feel like that about covers the advice requests today. I feel like we had a good time. Did you? I hope my advice was helpful. If you want to submit something for next time, I would absolutely love your submission. This form is open at all times. It's posted on my Discord. It's posted on my Twitter. We will probably do our next advice talk show situation. Maybe around July 12th or 13th. I'm not 100% sure yet. But we might do one around then. If not, the week after. I'm thinking actually about having a guest. So we might have a guest on next time. And it may or may not be specific advice that you guys request. It might be talking about advice requested on Reddit. There's a few ideas. Rule, thank you so much for the resub for 4 months. Okay, DD, welcome back home. But I kind of wanted to incorporate that because I mean, I can yap and give you guys advice and tell you my opinion all day long. But I think it's a fun caveat occasionally to have a guest that has good chemistry with me. and bounce ideas off of, especially if we like agree but also maybe go about things in a different way. So is it me? Do you want to be a guest, Dulogs? It could be you, but not next month. Next month is someone else. Yeah? Okay. I'll talk to you about it. I hope you get a guest that gives terrible advice. They want you, Dulogs. I'm sorry. I don't mean it. I had a very specific... I thought you liked it when people were mean to you. I had a very specific guest in mind for... for, like, Reddit advice and relationship advice while drinking. I'm sure a lot of you can guess who I might be thinking of, but I had a very specific guest in mind for that like months ago, and we just haven't been able to revisit and reschedule. So that was my plan for next month for like episode 6, and then episode 7 I'll do solo, and then Dulogs, if I have a guest for episode 8, you're first on the list. Okay, I appreciate your interest. I do, actually. I'm surprised that you meant that. I do, don't worry. See, the thing is, okay, this is why I call myself the joke killer, guys. Because I know this. He's publicly said I prefer it when people are mean to me. If they're too nice, like, I don't like them. He's publicly said this. I know he said this. I make fun of him. I know Twitch chat likes it when you make fun of people. And I still have to come back around and be like, I'm just kidding though, don't worry. Like I don't think this about you. It's for the bit. I'm just kidding. Like I can't let it lie. I can't just let it exist. I always have to circle back around and be like, yo, I was just kidding though, by the way. Like just in case you didn't know it was a joke. I have to tell you, I don't mean it. Like I can't. That's why I'm the joke killer, and that's why I say I'm not funny all the time. But yeah, so please submit. If anything comes up, you can submit at all times. Again, totally anonymous. I will eventually get to your request for advice. It just might not be like in the next stream. It just depends. So, you know, if you have anything, or if you have a friend who has a situation and you're like, damn, I wonder what my big sister ghosty girl Riri would think about this crazy situation, like, feel free to submit. Everything's open, and I would rather give you guys advice and talk about situations that mean something to, you know, the community over random shit I pull from the internet, you know? So, yeah. Thank you guys for coming to episode 5 of Advice from Beyond the Grave. I feel like we had a lot of great combos, and I hope you enjoyed them too. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure to take care of yourselves. Drink plenty of water. Find a therapist. Go to therapy. Hydrate your throats. Eat dinner. Wear sunscreen. And show up next time. Okay, there you go.